Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Chat. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. This week we are discussing Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory 2023. We're going to go over the results of the show, which was just a fantastic show. As expected, I think it exceeded my expectations, actually. And the fact that they dropped a huge bombshell at the end of the show, which is the fact that TNA Wrestling is returning. Yes, Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling is going to be their name going forward. Yeah, so they're going back to the old school, baby. So I'm going to give my thoughts on that, and we'll go over the results of each match. I didn't do too bad with my predictions on my last video there. As far as who won the matches anyway, I didn't get the surprises too much. But at any rate, as far as the Tag Team Championship goes, ABC did win the Tag Team Championship from the Rascals. So yeah, congratulations to the ABC new Tag Team Champions. Chris Sabin did defeat Kenta from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he retains the X Division Championship. I was right on that one too. So glad he gets to keep the X Division Championship, and I'm looking for an Option C cash-in coming in 2024. Someone even had a big sign with that in the crowd, I noticed, Option C. So yeah, I'm hoping Chris Sabin has a huge 2024, and I want to see him become Impact World Champion. Or TNA World Champion. Another thing, I was like, what happened to the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match? I guess that got scrapped. I guess they didn't have time. I know that on the Countdown show they were doing the Hall of Fame, inducting Tracy Brooks into the Hall of Fame, as well as Mike Tenay and Don West. I'm imagining that they probably went over time on that, because they did both have some pretty long speeches, but rightfully so. Congrats to Tracy Brooks and Mike Tenay, and of course the late Don West. So I imagine that's probably why they had to cut that match, and we'll probably see that on Impact or maybe Turning Point. We'll see. So the Monsters Ball, PCO wins on that one. Yeah, I was off on that one. I thought it was going to be Moose, but PCO did get the big win because, that is in his wheelhouse. That's definitely his style of match. So congrats to PCO. But don't forget that Moose still has that Feast or Fire briefcase, and he called his shot after that match and said he's cashing in on Hard to Kill for his shot for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in Hard to Kill, the pay-per-view in, I think it's usually January when they do that one. So, as far as the Call Your Shot Gauntlet goes, such a fun match. I had a great time with it. We did get the debut of Sonny Kiss, who comes from AEW. That was a lot of fun. We also got a little call back to WCW. Juventud Guerrera showed up. So that was a lot of fun. And, yeah, a lot of good battles. Jake Something lasted quite a while. But unfortunately, he did eventually get eliminated. And the winner was Jordan Grace. So I did say in my prediction that it's either going to be Kazarian or Jordan Grace. So it ended up being Jordan Grace. And she didn't waste any time calling her shot at Hard to Kill. She's going for the Knockouts Championship at Hard to Kill. So it's going to be Trinity or whoever holds the championship at that time. Who knows what could happen between now and then, but I imagine it's going to be Trinity, because in the Knockouts World Title match, Trinity did retain, as I predicted, and it was a face versus face matchup. There were no, deceptions. There was no Mickey heel turn or anything. There was nothing but respect and love between the two in the spirit of competition, and that was cool to see too, But Trinity did get the win, with the submission, as she's been doing a lot lately. She's been winning with that submission that she does. I forget the name of it, but yeah, Trinity still Knockouts World Champion. And we had the huge showcase match with Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey, and holy crap, this match was absolutely incredible. It exceeded any expectations I have. It's got to be match of the year. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. It was incredible. So amazing aerial tactics, lots of grappling holds, and it was an amazing match. Just high flying everywhere by two masters of high flying. It was just flawless. I mean, I didn't find one mistake that either one of them made in the match. It was absolutely brilliant. So 5-star match, Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey, but to no one's surprise, Will Ospreay gets the win. He's just got so much momentum going, and it's great to see him in Impact Wrestling. We are going to be seeing some more of him, and we're going to see him at Turning Point. He's going to have a match against Josh Alexander. And with that being said, we go to the Impact World Championship match between Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander. Another straight-up banger of a match, as expected. And I was right. Alex Shelley retains, yeah. With a clean victory, I might add. No shenanigans, no nonsense, no heel turn from Alex Shelley or anything. It was once again like Trinity and Mickie James, just face versus face, nothing but respect there. And he got the clean win, and he is undoubtedly the world champion now. Alex Shelley retains. So you can no longer dispute the fact that he is world champion, and he's a great world champion, and he is a phenomenal talent. Alex Shelley is one of the best wrestlers in the history of Impact / TNA Wrestling, and that's so great to see him get his due finally, with a great title run. So his title run will continue up through next year. We'll see what happens. I know a lot of people will probably upset that Josh Alexander didn't win. Probably most people, I think, would have expected Josh Alexander to get the title back that he never lost, but not the case, guys. So, with that being said, the bombshell. What do I think about that little video package they did at the end, when all the Impact talents, get together around the swamp or whatever it was, in the dark, and they were all talking about, we need to go back to where it all began, and then Kazarian went into the swamp or the river or whatever and brought out this big chest, pirate's chest or something, and they opened it up and it said TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling and they said, we're back. So yeah, I did read an article about that too, and it's official. They're not just doing it for a one-time thing for the pay-per-view Hard to Kill. They're going to be called TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling going forward in the new year. So, yeah, no more Impact Wrestling. It's going to be TNA, going back to the old school, the nostalgia factor. And I was really taken back by this. I was really shocked, wow. I don't know what to think about this. This is crazy. Because I know there's so much nostalgia for TNA, and, whenever you watch Impact Wrestling, an episode of Impact Wrestling, they always call back to the old TNA days. And they've been doing that for years, so it's always been a huge part of their history. And they always acknowledge it. And they certainly acknowledged it recently with the 1000th episode they had. Lots of callbacks to TNA Wrestling back in the day. it's interesting. I mean, I will say the one thing that's a huge plus about it in the announcement that they made, the press release, is that they are going to be having the higher production values. Going to be having new set designs, new championship titles are going to be created. So it's going to be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, the TNA Knockouts Champion, stuff like that. Yeah, a whole new, probably have a whole new intro and everything. This is basically another rebranding. The one huge thing that I got out of it was they're going to be stepping up the game. They're going to be booking bigger venues. And I was very excited to hear that. Yeah, let's get in the game now. Let's get into the ring with the competition. Let's make some moves. And I think Impact is finally starting to make some big moves now, and I'm excited about that. Now, what did I think about them actually changing the name to TNA? I got mixed feelings on that, because, like I said, I know there's so much nostalgia for TNA back in the day, but me, personally, I never liked that name, because first thing you think when you hear, the casual person hears TNA, you think tits and ass wrestling. And I still think that way, And I never liked the pronunciation either. Total non-stop action wrestling. I feel like that's too long of a name, Impact Wrestling is so much easier. I like, that's the one thing that I feel that was good that happened throughout the Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff era. That's when they started calling it Impact Wrestling, and they came out the t-shirts, Impact Wrestling, and I guess they didn't officially change it to that until 2017, but that started definitely with the Hogan Bischoff era, and that was another one of the things that I like that happened during the Hogan Bischoff era is they changed the whole 6-sided ring back to the 4-sided ring. And I always liked that too. I never liked the 6-sided ring thing. I know it's kind of a niche thing, and I know the hardcore TNA fans like, yeah, 6-sided ring, I always thought it looked awkward on television, and it's pretty notorious that the talent did not like working in that ring either. They felt it to be dangerous and awkward, but I'm here for it. Either way, I am going to watch. I am going to support TNA, and I want them to get in the ring with the competition and compete finally. But yeah, of course I am going to support them going forward, and I want to see them rise to really start competing with like AEW and WWE and stuff. And that's going to be a long road, but I think they definitely can do it as long as they do what they say they're going to do. Up the production value, book the bigger venues, hopefully get the fans back from TNA days, because a lot of fans kind of left when they started calling it Impact Wrestling. The old school fans kind of went away. Yeah, there's always going to be the certain hardcore fans that stay, but again, as far as the name change goes, I don't know if it's really necessary, but it's happening, and I'm here for it. The thing is, I don't think that the name is the problem with the success of Impact Wrestling. Never has been. The problem to me is that they're on this very small network, Access TV, I think if they really want to get in the game and get in the competition, I think they need to get on a better network, a bigger network that more people watch, Access TV is kind of way down on the dial, and a lot of people, some people don't even have Access TV. It's not, I don't think it's part of the basic cable. Yeah. So I feel like they need to get on a better network, a better cable network than Access TV. It's kind of like a real small station. Yeah, and they've been doing fine on it, but, you know, if you look at the ratings, they get, like, you know, 100-something thousand each week, you know. Maybe 200,000 sometimes. So yeah, you compete, you're trying to get in the ring and compete with AEW, gets 900,000, 800,000 every week, and WWE gets 900 to a million every week. So a lot of that has to do with the network they're on, you know. Yeah, word of mouth about Impact having these great matches and having such a great product, and bringing the TNA name back will bring back kind of a certain amount of fans, but I think it's only going to take them so far. I think the biggest thing they need to do is get on a better network, so I hope that happens at some point. But yeah, at any rate, Impact Wrestling has been putting on a great product for a long time, and it's taken them a few years to rebuild after the doldrums of like 2015, 2016 era where they almost went bankrupt, you know, that horrible time with Billy Corgan, and when they brought in the Global Force Wrestling with Jeff Jarrett's thing, and that was the bottom of the barrel. So they started rebuilding and rebranding in 2017 when they officially changed it to Impact Wrestling, and the product slowly started getting better and having some great matches, and the storylines were better, more well written. To what it is today, which I think they're stronger than ever when it comes to like the wrestling and the stars that they have, the quality of the roster, the quality of the storylines has been great, and I've been a big fan since 2020, I think, when I really started watching Impact again, because I hadn't watched for a while. I was so turned off by the 2015, 2016 era that it was just like, eventually I just stopped watching completely because it was so bad. And yeah, I used to watch during the Hulk Hogan era, Bischoff era, and I watched casually before that, because I'm not the hardcore mark of the old school TNA wrestling like a lot of people are. I thought there was a lot of bad stuff in there from the early days of TNA that sometimes I feel like they look at it through rose-colored glasses. They forget all the bad stuff, like Vince Russo's terrible writing and booking. Yeah, there were a lot of great times. Of course, there was always great wrestling. Always been a huge part of TNA and Impact. But I feel like now they're very strong. They got great stars and great wrestling and great storylines. So yeah, I look forward to more of that in 2024, and I wish TNA Wrestling nothing but the best. I hope they really can build up this brand and make it a really solid number 3, or maybe even start trying to compete with like AEW. Or stop running away from AEW and try and compete with them. Alright guys, that's it for me, Sean Patrick Erschen, the Pro Wrestling Chat. Tune in and lock up.